All right, Shalom. This is Ahara One by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, Leyahawa, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem, Harakak Wadash, Shema Moth. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to Yakin, Nagwati for children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. I want to get into this topic. As you know, we're just coming out of the Atonement, Day of Atonement. All right. I hope everyone that are sincere and that are in the truth have met their obligations. Right. Um, so anyway, let's keep going. This is a topic I want to get into where I want to elaborate on this right here. This is Isaiah 49 and 26. All right, dealing with World War III and how Yahweh is going to turn all of Israel's enemies against themselves. All right, against each other. Now, matter of fact, let me get something else real quick. All right, I think I'm going to start off with this scripture right here. I'll share the tab. It says Yahweh implored to confound his enemies. All right, because Israel's enemies are also Yahweh's enemies, and Yahweh's enemies are also Israel's enemies. All right, so this is Psalms 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. All right, so our enemies have risen up against us, right? Caused us to be scattered around the four corners of the earth. All right, it says here, so I went to the wrong one. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult. So the enemies are the nations of the world, all right? And 2/3 of our people today. But outside of the Israelites, these nations are naturally enemies of Yahweh. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. All right? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Now, all right, cool. So I wanted to switch it over to this translated version so we can get more detailed. Now, check this out. It says, O Yahweh, do not keep silent. Do not be still. Do not be quiet. Look, your enemies are in revolt. All right, that's the word tumult. So they revolted against the Lord and against his people. And those who hate you are rebelling. They are making secret plans against your people. They are plotting against those you protect, the hidden ones, right? Israelites. And also, they're plotting World War III and depopulation against the Lord's hidden ones today. All right. And they've been plotting against us since the beginning of time. That's what this chapter means. From the beginning, it says, come, they say, let us destroy their nation. All right. So that Israel will be forgotten forever. And what the Lord said, you touched the apple of his eye. He'll never forget that. So they want to do away with us as a nation forever while they stand and control the world and just go to war and do all these weird politics and pagan worship. All right. It says they agree on their plan. That's why they had something called the UN, the United Nations, and we weren't part of it. They agree on their plan and form an alliance against you. All right. That's why all those nations were clearly standing together. That's why you used to see Russia and America during the time of the Bush administration chilling and partying together. All right, but the Lord has caused a divide between all these nations now, according to Daniel chapter 2. So they agree on their plan and form an alliance against you. Some call it the UN, some call it NATO, um, right? Now it says the people of the EU, the people of Edom, right? The people of Edom, we know Edom has been our enemy. Edom is also Russia, the Edomites, UK, NATO, America, leaders of America mainly. The people of Edom and the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, um, the people of Moab, and you got Chinese. You can throw the Japanese. Well, the Chinese and a lot of those Koreans are actually Moabites. All right. So I can see. Let me go and fix this real quick. All right. So like I had to charge my mouse, connect the plug to my mouse. My mouse was dying out. But yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, North Korea. You got North Korea. Um, a lot of those Asian states like China, which is Moab. A lot of those Koreans. That's what I was saying. Not a lot of those North Koreans and some South Koreans are actually Moab. All right. Now let's keep going. Just get to stick to the point. Where was that? I'll put this at the backdrop. All right. So it says the people of Edom and the Ishmaelites. These are all the enemies of God. The people of Moab and the Hagarites. Hagar would be Ishmaelites as well. Different, like the royal branch of the Ishmael, the Arabs, but called Hagarites or the children of Hagar. The people of Gabal, which is another branch of Edom, um, Ammon, which would be um, a lot of the let's say Japanese, Ammonites, and a lot of those people have blended in with the Koreans and North Koreans. All right, China and was it Moab and Ammon? Now, to Amalek, which is Edom again, the chief house of Edom, and of Philistia and Tyre going into the Africans. All right, Assyria has also joined them as a strong ally of the Ammonites and Moabites, the descendants of Lot. All right, it's talking about Ammon. Today will be called the Japanese and Chinese. All right, so you can go on, and it names all the enemies. And what does it say here? Um, says, "Who said we will take for our own the land that belongs to God?" So that's what they did. They took our land, and they've been fighting over our land. Even today, they're still fighting over that land in Israel. To scatter them like dust, O Yahweh, like straw blown away by the wind. How is he going to do that? Through World War III. As fire burns the forest, as flames set the hills on fire, chase them away with your storm, and terrify them with your fierce winds. Cover their faces with shame, O Yahweh, and make them acknowledge your power. Wow. So through World War III and prophecy, the Lord speaking it from the beginning, this is going to show the world that He's the one that's controlling everything. All right, to be the first and the last. He's going to appear and he's going to send Yahushua on His behalf in these last days to confound His enemies and lift up the children of Israel, the elect. So He's going to cover their faces with shame. Right now, they're covered in pride. O Lord, and make them acknowledge your power. Make May they be defeated and terrified forever. May they be unalived in complete disgrace. May they know that you alone are the Lord, supreme ruler over all the earth. How is He going to do that? All right. So let's go here. Actually, I was just there in that one. I'll go here. So this is how He's going to do it. This is Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever He will. So that's what? That's the Lord controlling the minds of people like uh, this guy here, Putin, Trump, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, etc., etc. So all these kings, their hearts, their minds are in the hand of the Most High. He's controlling all of them. All right. But let's start here to get to this point. This is Isaiah 49:26. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. All right. So He's going to cause them to go to war against each other. And they shall be drunken with their own blood. Matter of fact, let's go to the translated version because it get more juicy, more detailed. All right. Let's go here. Uh, that's not it. So, like, in one moment. All right. So it says here, Isaiah 49:26. I will make your oppressors, because that's what they did. They became our oppressors, oppressing the nation of Israel. I will make your oppressors kill each other. All right. They will be drunk with murder and rage. Now, what do you see Netanyahu doing? Isn't he? They call that being bloodthirsty. All right. They will be drunk with murder and rage. That's all they're doing is just destroying each other. Then all people will know that I am Yahweh. See that? And that's keeping His word, as we just read in Psalms. The one who said, saves you and sets you free. That's Yahweh. He's going to save us and set us free. They will know that I am Israel's powerful God. So the whole world's going to know, even vocab, the toxic Avenger Malone and his cronies, they're going to know that Israel's power is the Most High, Yahweh. He's God. All right, the God of Israel. And He's going to do that through the Israelites prophesying, and then the Lord bringing about what the prophets have spoken. All right. You can read about that in Revelations, all the words of the prophets. So let's go to. So the Lord's gonna cause them all to fight against each other and be out for blood. This is Ezekiel 35 and 6. It says, "Therefore, as I live, Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Actually, go to 35:3. 2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. Mount Seir is Edom. Today, foundation of it will be America. And prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, Edom, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Meaning, all the nations, in the end, Edom is going to be the most desolate nation out of all of them. All right. So that's as a tribe, and also this land. It was just spiritually Idumea right now. And I will lay thy cities waste. See, the Lord's going to use Russia, North Korea, China to lay what they call the West. You're gonna call it should be called the waste, because that's the end. That's the end result of it. Look, it says here, the UK, which the UK is ran by Britain and in England, the UK fears as the West will come to a bloody end in World War III in just 5 days of war, basically. When the war starts, it only takes 5 days for the UK to be wiped out. All right. So he says, "What? And I will lay thy cities waste, and one of their cities is America. And thou shalt, well, so I should say Babylon, spiritually speaking. And thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Edom had a perpetual hatred since the blessing was given to Jacob, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity." See, when the Lord, Deuteronomy 28, was putting curse in our nation, um, these nations that I read about in Psalms, which are the enemies of Yahweh and Israel, especially Edom, they've shown a perpetual hatred. And in the time of our calamity, they shed our blood by the force of the sword. And in the time that their iniquity had an end, so even now, therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood. See, the Lord has prepared a snare, a trap for him called World War III. And blood shall pursue thee. So all the nations the Lord has prepared fanners that shall fan her. So the Lord has prepared this. All right, blood shall pursue thee. So those that are bloodthirsty, let's see what they got in the translation. It's Ezekiel 35:6. See if it's anything detailed. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood." Hold on. Do they even have it? Let's try this one real quick. Here we go. It says, "So then, as surely as I, the sovereign Lord, am the living God, destruction or death is your fate, and you cannot escape it. You are guilty of, you know, blood, murder, and blood will follow you." Sheesh. Can't read it in that translation. That's gonna be too detailed. Get no strikes on you on these social media sites. So that's what's gonna happen. So these nations are gonna be pursued by bloodthirsty nations that are out for blood, that aren't out for money, that's out for what? Revenge. It says after Putin made his threat, his close ally threatens nuclear war, North Korea. All right. And they're threatening to go to war by Christmas with Poland. Where was I reading? Damn, what was I reading? Okay, here we go. Um, so it says here, Ezekiel 35:6. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, see that they gained the world through the sword, right? They have not hated murder, even murder or blood shall pursue thee. That's going to be the end result of Edom, and especially whatever they built. He said, they shall build, but I shall throw down. So this place, this monster that they built called America, is going to be pursued by bloodthirsty nations. Let's get that. Let's get that real quick. This is because they have been enemies, and all those that have fought against us, the Lord gonna fight against them. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick first. Where is it at? Let's go to Revelations 13 and let's start from 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, so upon the earth, right? I'll share this one so you can. And I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. So the sea represents people. So from amongst the people, a conglomerate of a collective mind of wicked men came together, of Edomites, and they started something called the EU and NATO. All right. So that's what this means. Coming up out of the sea like a monster on the earth, putting fear in people. All right, called the beast, meaning immoral, not righteous, unruly, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his head, his horns, 10 crowns. That's NATO and what you'll call the EU. All right, 7 heads represent NATO. The 10 horns represents the EU. Um, and the 10 crowns would be EU nations as well, ultimately adding up to 27. All right, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy, meaning they were blasphemous and wicked men that were coming together. All right, and every one of them, their heart is deep, and they have a plot for World War III, a new world order, a satanic government on this earth. This is in their plans. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, just like Alexander the Great, 336 BC. Uh, what's that? 315, if I'm not mistaken, BC. Alexander the Great, he took over Greece in 334. Well, Persia, and he took over Greece in 336. He had all the nations quiet around him and put everybody in fear. Rose up out of nowhere, just like um, NATO. All right, and they modeled themselves after Alexander. So the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his head were as the feet of a bear. So the end of it is going to be through Russia, all right, which is also an Edomite nation, all part of the same body. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. That lion is talking about who? Britain, right here, UK, all right, Mo- specifically Britain. and their symbol is the lion. And what was that? What was his name? Churchill. I think it was Winston Churchill. But anyway, during World War II, Britain became more of a background or banking, uh, you know, dominance instead of a war wartime dominance like World War One. Britain was one of the one of the front faces of World War One. World War Two, they took the back seat and they pushed America and NATO and Russia to the front. And now in this war, you have Britain's ever since the Brexit and the EU, they're trying to build up a military force now instead of just banking. All right, especially with their disagreements with America. Where was I reading? Revelations 13 and 1, 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power. So the EU, the Roman Empire, the EU, gave him his power and seat and great authority. All right. That's what Europe is what established NATO, basically, to sum it up. All right. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. And that was talking about Rome, the Roman Empire, 1476 BC AD. You had the fall of the Western Roman Empire, really from the second century AD all the way up until the fourth century. It had a beginning and an end to it. And then the rise of this beast came about after the 12th century to the 1400s. All right, the 14th century. So during the time of the Ottoman Turks, 12th century, they came out and took back Constantinople. Dealing with the Dark Ages. They started taking back the Western Roman Empire all up until the 1400s with what's his name? Uh, the Borgia families, and uh, all up until the slave trade, until NATO and the EU. What was it called? The Treaty of Rome in 1957. All right, the Treaty of Rome in 1957. Um, and the conglomerate of America, NATO, and the EU. It says this right here, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, the fall of Rome, and his deadly wound was healed. See, through America, the EU, and NATO, ultimately. All right. So Rome is back on the earth again, you know. And all the world wondered after the beast. So everybody was afraid and was submitting to this um, organization, because that's what NATO is. It's an organization. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So they served. Everybody submitted to the EU. They let them take the forefront. Europe and Russia and them took the back seat, and they pushed the dollar to the forefront as the dominant world currency, et cetera, et cetera. And they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like unto NATO? Who is able to make war with him?" All right. So they was afraid of NATO because yeah, he had power to bring down fire, which was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They had nuclear deterrence. They had the dollar. They had major financial backing. So who were able to go to war with that? With NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a conglomerate of multiple nations that would come together and fight you if you was to fight one of them. So who can come to war against that? Well, the Lord has established the BRICS. He established NATO. He established, I mean, so like Russia, China, North Korea. They all got nuclear deterrence now, offensive and defensive, and they got their own currency. So think the tables have turned. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. He's talking about Britain, all right? And power was, I mean, NATO, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. That'd be like 4 years. So this is talking about a speaker that would be speaking for NATO in the world. And you had what was his name, man? I always forget his damn name. Who was the spokesman for NATO? I think it was 1955. Yeah, Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower. All right, he became the spokesman. That's what started the horror riding upon the scarlet colored beast. Scarlet color represents an Edomite entity, and Eisenhower became the spokesman for it in 1955. He was also known as the American president, and he was a Jake, if I'm not mistaken. They found out later, but yeah, Eisenhower. All right, 34th president of the United States. Um, let me see. I just saw something. It says during World War II, he was he was the supreme commander of the Allied uh, expeditionary force in Europe and achieved a five-star rank as general of the army. Eisenhower planned and survived two of the most consequential military campaigns in World War II. All right, so uh, he was basically became a spokesman for Europe, and you got to look up videos of that as well. Here you go. And as the first supreme commander of NATO, 1951, 1952. All right, so Eisenhower became a spokesman and the first supreme commander of NATO. And now the supreme commander of NATO is usually always American, all right, American general. So he had a mouth speaking great things. Let's go here. Now it says Revelation 13 and 6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. That was when they added in God we trust, uh, pledge allegiance to the flag. This was all Eisenhower doing. All right. So they're disrespecting the heavens, calling themselves a godly nation. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. So it was given unto America to make war against what? The civil rights movement, against the Lord's people, Native Americans, Cubans, the Cuban Missile Crisis, et cetera, right? Russia had to step in to protect dealing with Cuba, Manasseh. So they America set up to go at, or Babylon, I should say, is set up to go to war with the children of Israel, keep us oppressed through politics, policies. All right, gunning us down in the streets, financial war, religious war, warfare, economic, through entertainment, warring with our people, spiritual war. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, man. They said, we shall overcome one day. No, we didn't overcome yet. They overcame us. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All right, so that was the point that they made war against us. And the Lord said, any nation that makes war against us, the Lord gonna go to war with them. Since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee. All right. And the nations that what? Let me get that again. He said, where is it at? There you go. He says, let's go to 25. Isaiah 49:25, the Lord replies, that is just what is going to happen. The soldiers' prisoners will be taken, and the tyrant's loot will be seized. I will fight against whoever fights you, and I will rescue your children. See, they made war against us and put us in slavery. And at the civil rights movement, they went to war against us again. All you gotta do is look up St. Augustine and what they did during the civil rights movement. And I will make your oppressors unalive each other. Whoa. They will be drunk with murder and rage. All right, I'll say blood. Then all people will know that I am Yahweh, the one who saves you and sets you free. They will know that I am Israel's power, the powerful God. Bing, right on time. All right, so let's go here real quick. That's why I said this. Um, well, this is what I want. Right. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? This is why they're making threats towards each other. All right, and they have no understanding except for Putin. He said he's been having dreams. Let's go to Revelations 6 and 4. All right, so it's Revelations 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. It's talking about Esau. That's what they've done. They've taken peace from the earth through war with their blessing, the sword. All right, especially starting with Alexander, and then you got NATO, America with the World War II, and that they should kill one another. All right, so that's what they're going to do. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the faith and the patience of the saints. So when we see this happening, we know it's the Most High ruling in the kingdom of men. And there it says what? That they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. All right, they're going into the missiles, and even Russia, they Edomites as well. So the sword is given to them as also. So let's go to uh, Revelations 11 and 14. 11 and 14, not 14. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, so that third world war is coming. Um, but it's going to be Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that's controlling it, the outcome of it. Can a bird fall, a sparrow fall to the ground without the Most High controlling it? You know. So these things don't happen by chance. Let's go to Revelation 8 and matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go to this one real quick. This is Isaiah 17. This is Isaiah 13, 17. This whole thing is a rebuke on Babylon. How the Lord's going has judgment against it, against Edom. The Lord says, this is Isaiah 20 and 13. Yahweh says, I am stirring up the Medes to attack Babylon. All right. Remember, he said, going to cause them to fight against each other, be bloodthirsty against each other. I am stirring up the Medes to attack Babylon. They care nothing for silver and are not tempted by gold. Why? You ever seen the movies and somebody try to pay somebody off and they're like, no, I don't want your money. They just out for blood. They want revenge. They want dominance. They want to do, they're going to be doing the divine will of Yahweh, ultimately, knowingly or unknowingly. It says, with their bows and arrows, they will unalive the young men. They will show no mercy to babies and take no pity on children. Babylonia is the most beautiful kingdom of all. That's why even um, John the Revelator, he marveled at it when he saw it in a vision. And the angel had to check him, like, yo, what are you doing, man? It is the pride of its people, but I, Yahweh, will overthrow Babylon as I did Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. So when we read Ezekiel 35, it says, blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, as we see them doing today in Gaza, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So let me see. Second Ezra's. Now let's go to. I'm gonna read this right here. This is Revelations 8 and 13. It says, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound," meaning horror, horror, and more horror. That's what World War Three is. It's a horrible, horrifying when you think about what those chemicals and explosions can do. To cities and whole countries, and to those people. It's going to be melted. All right. Revelation 9 and 12. One, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So the second woe, First World War, 1914 to 1918, World War One. Then you had World War Two, really started in 1938, 1945, and this last war is going to happen according to prophecy. The Most High spake of those things from the beginning. That's Second Ezra, chapter 9. So when he says, um, I'm gonna go ahead to 49. Ezekiel 49. No, Isaiah. Was Isaiah 49? So I can. And 26. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. See, that's Satan divided against Satan, Russia against America, EU against America. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Basically causing them to go to war with each other. Revelation 17-16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, see, the EU and its allies, these shall hate the whore. Whoa, they were just together when I read it in the first chapter, Revelation 13, I think that was, or 11. No, that was Revelation 13, I think. No, Revelation 14, I was reading. Let me make sure. No, it was 13. All right, when they went to war with the saints. All right, the NATO, the EU coming together, right? But now it says what? Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, upon NATO, these shall hate the whore, Babylon, America. So now they divided, and shall make her desolate. So they're gonna finance, play both sides of the war, just like they did during the Napoleon Wars, World War One, World War Two, the Vietnam Wars, etc., 9/11, etc., etc. People get rich in the midst of war. You know, they sell weapons. You know, and shall make her desolate. So they're gonna cause this place to be destroyed and naked. So you know, that's when you get and what and shall eat her flesh. All right, cause them to to devour each other, even financially, economically. When you had the Feds raising interest rates or even lowering interest rates, manipulating the market. Um, George Soros, I remember his name this time. People like that that's helping to cause America to be in what they call the drag or the circling the drain and and establishing establishing China as the world leader of the digital market with their currency, all right, and allies. So they shall what? They shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right. So let's get Revelation 17 and 16 in the translation. See if there's any details. Revelation 17 and 16. Let's see. It says here, the 10 horns you saw and the beast will hate the prostitute. That's America. They will take away everything she has. That's what I said. You know, because you got a lot of people saying this only means the EU is going to destroy America. No, first they're gonna play a part in stripping America of everything they gave. The EU was the pimp. Now they're taking everything back from what the whore, all right, and leave her out there to get destroyed by the players in the game. So they will take away everything she has and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and destroy her with fire. See that? So when you break this down, it is not talking about only destruction. It's talking about an economic attack, right? It's destroying the mirth of the land and eat her flesh and destroy her with fire. For Yahweh has placed in their hearts to the will to carry out his purpose by acting together and giving to the beast their power to rule. So they were together. Now they're going against each other until Yahweh's words come true. And I saw the woman sit. I saw the woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth. Ooh, that's America, man. So the Lord gonna cause them to all go against each other, and ultimately, this is the place where we're gonna see that happen at, where they're gonna be eating each other's flesh, battling against each other, according to Isaiah 45, 49, and 26. I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. All right, Satan against Satan. And they shall be drunken with their blood. They're going to be bloodthirsty, as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, Yahweh, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. All right. So I'm gonna end it there, man. Hopefully this was edifying. And yeah, stay focused, stay in the spirit. Don't let things distract you about it. All right. And hopefully you were successful in your atonement, uh, following path. All right. So all of you out there that's keeping in the faith, man. Shalom to y'all. Stay in high spirits. With that, I'm gonna say shalom to the next one.